Exploring EFL students' attitudes toward internet-based courses in comparison to on-site courses. Although e-learning has been around for a long time, moving from face-to-face classroom to online classroom has posed a challenge not only for teachers but also for students for several reasons. In fact, it has had its opponents who believe that educational technology should be avoided. It has also had its supporters who believe in the positive role of technology in education. However, during the recent situation, corona pandemic, digital learning proved its paramount role in educational settings. Research problem. In spite of the fact that the new generation become familiar with technology from the very young age, when the pandemic hit and the education moved to online medium, they expressed strong resistance and avoided participation in online classes. Only 30% of undergraduate and almost 50% of the masters, joined the program in Islamic Azad University in Marageh branch, Iran. Our research purpose. The purpose of this study was to understand the university students' attitude toward online courses they took during this pandemic in an effort to understand any possible barriers that might hinder their participation and enhance the positive aspects for more participation and better learning. The research question that we wanted to answer in this study was: what is the EFL undergraduate and postgraduate students toward online courses offered by the university during corona pandemic? Context and participants. The study used a qualitative methodology to explore EFL university students' attitude toward online courses. The data were collected in two undergraduate who were about 21 and postgraduate who were about 70 students majoring in English teaching in Islamic Azad University, Marageh, Iran. The classes were made up of male and female students within the age range of 19 to 32. Instrument and procedure. A focused essay technique was implemented to gather data. In focused essay technique, a respondent is asked to write a few lines about a specific event in some detail. A time period of 1 week was given to students to write their focused essay in English. Participants were asked to write about their attitude toward online learning. They were also required to answer why they liked it or why they didn't like it, what kind of problems they faced, and their experience in general. They were also asked to write their names, major, and age in their document. Having gathered their writings electronically, they were all transferred to a Word file. Using CRESPA's 2012 6 steps of content analysis, the essays were analyzed. As a result of content analysis, two main themes emerge: advantages and disadvantages. The advantages mentioned by the students was comfort. 20% of the students believed that they found this type of education convenient and comfortable because they would get this education in their own room with their own devices. Plus, they found it stress-free and face-keeping. The second advantage mentioned by postgraduate students, who were about 32%, was taking advantage of telecommuting. As most of these students come from different cities, then they found this type of education kind of time saving, money saving, and energy saving. 20% of the students supported the idea of accessibility of the lesson content. As the presented lessons were saved and used for later references, it provided the chance for students to download them when they were not available to participate synchronously. The third advantage mentioned by the students was learning new technical and behavioral skills. 23% of the students believe that online classes caused them to learn new computer skills, as well as taught them how to be self-disciplined and self-motivated, in spite of being very frustrated at the beginning of the course. Another advantage mentioned by the students was learning in a new multimedia environment. 28% of the students commented that in online classes, the instructors presented the lessons in different modes, such as PowerPoints, videos, audios, text, which enhanced their comprehension and made the lesson enjoyable. These students also complained about the disadvantages. For example, one of the disadvantages they mentioned was lack of order and discipline. Strangely enough, all students, about 100%, commented that online classes lacked the order and discipline of face-to-face classes. Some of the students said that they would fall asleep during the class, or they wouldn't attend the class because they would have access to the material asynchronously. Some others believe that they would be distracted by some distractors at home, such as TV, people at home, noise, and many other fun things. Some others admitted that as they were not motivated and self-disciplined, they didn't have time management skills, they wouldn't be benefited from these kind of classes. Another problem, which was the cause of complaint among the students, was failures or glitches they experienced during these classes. They complained about the speed of the internet or some failures in the middle of the class, some disconnections, which caused frustration and caused some of the students to quit the class. 42% of the students complained about social isolations. They commented teachers would see the students' facial expressions, gestures in face-to-face classes, so they could adjust their lecture, but this was not possible in online classes. 17% of these students found these type of classes devoid of any emotions, mechanical, and boring. 17% of the students mentioned lack of computer and internet literacy as one of the barriers to participate in online classes. They stated they experienced anxiety and frustration, which led to their loss of self-esteem and self-efficacy. The last point mentioned by students was high cost and unavailability of technology. Both undergraduate and postgraduate students wrote that the devices like laptops, smartphones, the internet, they required for online classes were unaffordable for most of them. One of the students commented, "I live in a rural area. We do not have access to the internet. We cannot afford the devices. How are we going to keep up with the education?" Our findings about advantages of online learning are in line with what has already been found in literature. When it comes to disadvantages, some of the findings might be specific to Iranian context. For example, the complaints about lack of order and discipline in online courses, in online classes, may be rooted in the teacher-centered approach to teaching. In our country, teachers are reluctant to relinquish power, do not believe in the efficacy of learner-centered approach. And then students become accustomed to and prefer this method of presentation and expect a serious learning environment with the teacher in front of the classroom. Another point that should be given attention is dissatisfaction with glitches. In order to encourage and facilitate participation in these forums, there is a need for more user-friendly systems, more developed and improved systems, of course, or we might face attrition in the number of the students who participate in this kind of classes. Lack of technical and internet literacy is another serious problem among students and even teachers. So today's world requires multi-literacies to thrive. then it is incumbent on educators to equip students with these literacies to prepare them for this fast changing world, or they will be held behind. Another problem which might be a cause for concern is social isolation in online courses. Human being is a social being and tends to share activities with others. This type of education does not satisfy the emotional and social needs of these students who are sociable and extroverted. It deprives the students of the classroom dynamics and atmosphere. Maybe new pedagogical models are required to cater to these students' needs, which might require creativity on the part of the teachers and other stakeholders and policymakers, of course. Another problem, which is also worrisome, is the problem of socioeconomic situation. Due to high cost of technology, online education may be exclusive rather than inclusive. So it is hoped that in future, and of course in very foreseeable future, all students will have access to computers and tablets both at home and in their school, or it will have, the lack of these devices might have a negative impact on the learning outcomes of the learners. Thank you for your attention.